How's everybody doing?
It's another Monday night.
It is. It is. And with Monday comes yet another Monday motivation chat.
Recap from last week, sir.
Yes, so last week, in honor of Preemie Awareness Month, we
had parents.
Sorry, production
production assistant needed some support.
So we had Cass and Dries Davis, who are parents of a micro preemie, and they told us their story, and their story was insane.
Yeah.
And they have so much more to tell. So they basically got to the point of talking about
the beginning,
being pregnant, going through that entire process, leading up to them bringing their son KD into this world, and then we kind of had to end things off there. We didn't get to go deep into his development.
Yeah.
Everything was just kind of from the point of the hospital, leading up to the hospital, in the hospital, and then coming home. But it was, even after coming home, there's still a lot more to talk about, and we had great reception with that. And because of that, we're definitely going to do a part two next week. So next Monday Motivation Chat will be Cass and Dries will be joining us once again, and then we will continue speaking about Kenny's journey.
And November, so they'll be on Monday, November 16th, and November 17th is World Prematurity Awareness Day. So it's kind of like aligns up perfectly with that. And they just talked a lot about, I feel like they were provided a lot of information on, like, there's preemies and then there's micro preemies, where there's just a point where there's the chances of everything, of living, of the child being a whole human being that can live life normally. The chances and the percentages are like so crazy and so small, and the decisions that you have to make are so hard. And so I feel like part two and like life, life after coming home. I think we got to the point of the fact that they were able to come home. And so just life with a micro preemie and that journey, now 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had the honor of over this past weekend, we had a 24-hour game day through our Kick the Day group, which is pretty much our youth version of Kill the Day, and that was a lot of fun. And we had the honor of having Kenny actually over here. He stayed over the weekend and got to take part.
So I think did we meet our goal yet? We had a fundraising goal of $1,000.
Yeah, I think we're like $10.
$10 away. So we might just have to put that in the pot just to make our goal.
Just throw it in there.
So there are people that are watching now that kind of participated and helped share and spread the word. So thank you to everyone who either played with us, who shared that we were doing this, all of our donors. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll definitely be making another video, because we actually filmed a video afterwards, like thanking everybody, but like we were surprised that like once the stream ended, a lot of people continued donating, because when we finished it, we were at 820 and now we're at 990. And that was insane in itself. So we're definitely gonna do a more formal video just thanking everybody and shouting everybody out. So that was dope. But without further ado,
so much is going on.
Yeah, it's just a lot in the bucket right now.
Yes. Without further ado.
Yeah. So today's guest is the lovely. Oh, can you speak right now? Maria Alicea. Maria is what Julie likes to call her cake boss. She has her own business. Amazing treat delights.
Yeah, she's gonna have to say what she gets.
Yeah. Because she like writes it one way on the Instagram name, and then there's like another way on the logo. So it's M Amazing Delights. Yeah. M Amazing Delights. But she's also she's just dope. Like Maria is absolutely amazing, and she's a foster mother. And it's just like being a foster parent and like talking to her about her story is just like it's
crazy.
Deep. It's
like being
deep.
Parent is hard, and foster parenting, I feel like it's a little harder.
So we are going to bring her in so she can speak to every single one of you guys.
Drum roll.
Maria, Maria.
Hey, yo.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Good.
You guys are so nice. I was like, oh, it's too early. It's too early to start crying.
You need to cut it.
Cut it out. It's like identical to the flyer.
Right?
Oh, it's a good side.
So how's everything?
Everything's good. Busy, but good.
Yes. So there's a lot to unpack here. I think we'll start off right and with your journey into baking and making people smile and happy with your treats. So for the record, can you say the name for the record?
Okay, so it's supposed to be Amazing Treats, but there was a lot of going back and forth with it, so it's just M Amazing Treats or Delights.
M Amazing Delights.
M Amazing.
M Amazing Delights.
Like you have the logo, but then like the IG name is like different. It was like
amazing. Yeah, it's supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to sound like amazing, but it doesn't come out like that all the time. So I never changed it on the Instagram. I should have. I'll work on that.
Amazing.
Oh, like
yes.
You got it. Okay. Talk about how you got into baking.
It started a long time ago. Actually, when I lived in Brooklyn is when it started. I was unemployed. Was the main source of income for my family at the time, and we needed money like badly. Rent overdue, bills left and right. And I was young. I was maybe like 16, 17 years old. And I was like, I wonder if I can make like cheesecake. Like, what would that be like? So I made cheesecake. Wasn't great, I have to be honest. It was bad. It was bad. So I went into chocolate cake, and I found like a recipe in the back of Hershey, like this chocolate cocoa thing, and that's kind of how it started. When I started making the chocolate cake, I made it constantly. Then I was like, oh well, let me learn how to make frosting. I started like looking at the back of like frosting tubs, and I couldn't understand anything. I was like, I don't know what gum and fat of this, like I could not read any of it. So I started to just do research on my own, and that's how I started baking. So it was basically to make money because we didn't have any. So that's where it all started. It became more like the more I did it, the better I got. So I started, like, people would request different things, and that's how I learned. My nephews were a big reason why I started, because I always wanted to be someone that they thought of in the future, like, oh, when I come into the house, I smell cookies and I think of Titi, and that's huge for me. I want them that when I'm long gone, that's a memory that they have of me, that they helped bake with me, that they were my little helpers. And I have pictures all over of them like helping me in the kitchen. Even now they'll be like, can we make some cookies, or can we make cake? Can we make cupcakes? So it's something that I did mainly for the family. It wasn't really meant initially wasn't meant to sell. Like it was in the beginning to sell, like to make money here and there, but I never thought that I would get the way that I am now. Like I've gotten better. I can't say I'm an expert because I'm not, but I've gotten better.
If y'all haven't seen her page, go to her page. Like, hello, amazing. And even if like it's not Maria's perfection, it still always tastes so good that you don't even care that the icing got a little bit melted. Like it just always tastes so good.
Thank you.
No, ever, ever, ever. So as you grew, it became kind of like more of a business. And so let's talk about that. Like, how did you have a logo, you have a business name, people are making orders. How did you go from a 16-year-old just trying to make a couple dollars on cheesecake and then trying to make memories with your nephew to now a business owner?
I can't really remember where it changed, like how it happened, to be quite honest, because it just happened. Like I think where the change came when I started making cake pops. Like I started doing things for family members, and I'm not thinking that I'm that good. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do it like this. The company that I'm in now, the guards started tasting my stuff. So they were like, oh, well, can you make cake pops for this? Can you do cake pops for that? I know one particular couple that wanted me to do a gender reveal, and the fiance or the boyfriend at the time, was very specific about his cake pops. So he kind of pushed me in that direction.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
Say
that again. I can say his name?
I said, it sounds like a man of good taste.
I mean, I think he kind of pointed me in that direction. Was always very helpful and very, I'm lost for words right now. I can't even think of the word. Constructive criticism. He's like, oh, well, have you ever tried it this way? Maybe you should try it this way. I even remember him teaching me how to do some logos. Like, hey, you should maybe do a logo. Maybe you should do this with your business. Maybe you should do that. So I have a lot to thank for in that. Thank you.
So for those who don't know, we go way back. So Maria, like she said, so the company we were working at, somebody had told me, it was like, oh, you gotta try Maria's cake pop. She's really good cake pops. I was like, what's a cake pop? Like at the time, like I didn't know anything about that. And I'm like a big bakery guy. Like I just like my donuts, I like my cakes, I like all that stuff. So like she gave me the cake pops. Like, so good. So good. So I'm a big X-Men fan. At the time, Julie was pregnant with our now 6-year-old Oliver. So that's how far it goes back. So we call ourselves like the Gambit and Rogue. So we were like, oh, well, what if we do like a gender reveal and we do it with the cake pops? So I sat there and I pulled Maria to the side and I gave her the idea, and we had like these X-Men looking cake pops, but like it was either going to be pink inside if it was a girl or blue inside if it was a boy. And we got the results, and we didn't open it. We sent it right to Maria, and she was like, oh my God, this confidential. Started it. She did such an amazing job, and we've gone back ever since. Like it's just been, but just beyond cakes, like we've just developed this big family.
Right.
It's been amazing.
I think that's kind of like how the universe has brought us so many awesome people that we just collect family. That like if we just did like a family reunion, no one will know each other. Number one, most people wouldn't know each other. The people that we consider family now, it would just be like a melting pot of different people.
Definitely.
So what are some things that you feel like in becoming like in using baking that makes you happy, like, and putting it into a business? Like, what have you learned? What have been some challenges? What do you love about it?
I love knowing that I put a smile on somebody's face. That is something like huge for me. Knowing that I may have not been there, but something of mine was there. Something that I did made you smile, that you were like, this is really good. This made me feel good. Um, so it's something that I like, like with the gender reveal, like I felt so honored to have that information. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. I know what this is. And I like loved that feeling. I love making people happy. I want to see people happy. I don't think enough people get that opportunity. Um, or they don't accept, like, they're not happy with the little things. So if I can help them just a little bit get there, just a little bit, I'm gonna do it. And that's my way of doing it. Um, and what I've learned, it's okay to make mistakes. Definitely okay to make mistakes with that, because where there are mistakes, you learn. And I've met a lot of people. Like I like through this, I've met a lot of people. Like I'm so grateful for you guys. Like I love you like family. And I've met a lot of other people with it too, in their businesses, and wanting to help them promote, or fundraisers and things like that.
What's some of your most memorable moments in your business creating cakes, or maybe even some of the funnest ones that you've made? Like, what are some most memorable cakes that you've made?
I have to be honest, the memorable stuff are usually with my nephews, like that kind of, or even with Jace and Ali, like with the kids, because it's like Play-Doh, or it's like play to them. I had a wild imagination when I was little. I used to pretend like I was a witch. So anytime I'm in the kitchen, there's something going in my head like I'm a witch. I'm doing some stuff. So when I'm with the kids, I'm kind of like, oh, ha ha ha, let's do this, and ha ha ha, let's do that. So that's my, like, anytime I think about that, I'm like, I'm
It,
crazy Titi who likes to make cookies and stuff like that.
I would say.
It is, because it's like some of the things that you'll do, like the one that you recently did with the My Hero Academia one. If you guys haven't seen it, it was amazing. Like it was so dope. She made you made the sugar glass or whatever, right? Like it was like
Yeah, I made the sugar glass. So
it was
the way I learned to do that, and I totally forgot that I know how to do that. I have a friend who made a movie, and the movie was about candy. It's like being addicted to candy, but it was of course a metaphor. So he was like, I need a lot of sugar glass. And I was like, what? And I ended up looking up like Breaking Bad. So I saw a video about how to make candy that looks like like Breaking Bad's stuff. So it required me breaking the candy up. So I made the oh gosh, I can't even. His name is Deku. The character that's on the cake is Deku. So I was like, oh my nephew wants fire. He wants fire in his cake, but not real fire. And I'm like, how do I do this? I'm like, oh, the glass candy. I was like, I can break it and mold it in a certain way depending on the temperature to make it look like it's somewhat like fire. So it was fun. Not fun to eat, but it was fun. I don't recommend the candy. The cake was good, not the candy.
You see, the baking is like a science. It's like really like magic, the way you can
Hmm.
make food and like making it into
Hmm.
these elaborate things. Like,
yeah.
you're a cake witch.
I know. That's what I try to promote. But yeah, it's definitely a science. Like you're off by a little bit, the whole thing goes out. It's part of the reason why I usually ask people to let me know like 2 weeks in advance, is because I have to prepare. It's just me by myself, so I like to prepare and have everything ready. So if in case something happens, I have a backup. There are many times where I've made a cake, I'm like, I'm just gonna wait a few days before, and I'm like scrambling, like anxiety attack, like, oh my God, the cake is gonna come out horrible. So, and there's always mistakes all of the time. All of the time, there's always a mistake. Like a friend of mine called me like the cake doctor because sometimes I'm able to fix something after it's destroyed. So it's a lot, but it's nice. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You just the wizard. Is she a witch or is she a wizard?
Could you be both?
I guess. I don't
I
know.
feel like I can be anything. I can be, a witch or wizard, I can be anything.
So now from cake boss to super duper amazing foster mom.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the journey into that because that was a lot.
It is a lot. It was a lot. It is a lot. I've always wanted to be a mom, like a very young age. I've always been mommy-ish. I Even to grown-ups, I'm very mommy-ish. Did you eat? Make sure you cover up. Make sure, it's late. They could be older than me, and I'm still that way. Um, but a few years back, what led me into foster care is I lost a baby. And for about 2 years, I had this. You ever just want to hug your child? Like just out of nowhere, just want to hug your kid? And I couldn't do that. I was so in need of it that I decided to go that route. I'm gonna stop here because I'm getting teary-eyed. So, but that's why I did it. That's why I did it.
So,
Okay, we can go now.
in the journey, two, three foster kids so far.
So far, three.
Three.
So far, three. All amazing, all different. My first one was a couple of months old. We used to call him Paulie D. He's just the cutest little thing ever. I only had him for a few weeks. He woke up with a smile, went to bed with a smile. Like he was just the happiest baby in the world. Such a blessing to have him.
Mm-hmm. And now you have Tasmanian Oscar.
Yeah. I had him and his sister. Sister is an amazing young lady, 17 years old. We both had our own thoughts about when we were meeting each other. I had her brother first, which is the Tasmanian devil that I have today. He's a sweetheart, but he's a normal 3-year-old, going on 30. Sometimes he tells me what he wants me to do. But he's an amazing kid. Like he's such a good boy. He super duper smart. Lets me know what he likes, what doesn't like. He lets anybody know that actually. His sister, also an amazing young lady. Like I said, we had our own kind of, I wonder what she's gonna be like. I wonder what she's gonna be like. And then when we met, we got along very, very well. So it's been interesting. I've learned a lot.
Interesting. What is in the 3 children? What would you say you've learned as a foster mom, or what has made you stronger as a person, I should say?
It's hard to say to be ready for anything, but that's basically it. You have to be ready. You have to prepare yourself because it's not permanent. It's going to hurt. Be strong is what I've learned. You're doing it for their betterment. Key things, make sure that if anyone is thinking about fostering, to document everything, report everything. If you have a gut feeling, go with it. Love hard. That's something that you have to be able to do when you're doing this. You have to be open because some of these kids don't have that. Some of these kids don't have that open, like you're not able to just be affectionate, be loving, be there like as if it was your own kid. Nothing is perfect, especially in foster care. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of restrictions, and you have to be careful. So you have to take care of yourself as well. Mental health is something else that I learned, that I had to be careful of, because it gets really rough. You can easily fall into depression because you're so concerned about something. You're worried about what's going to happen. So you definitely have to take care of yourself in order to take care of another child. That's what I've learned so far, if that makes sense.
No, it all makes sense. I feel like it's definitely, that's why, we mentioned you being like a superhero, because raising children is not easy by any means. It's an adventure, and to have to and to willingly do so for those in need that may not have the same DNA, have different personalities, have different attributes and habits and stuff, and love them as your own, and be able to kind of go with the flow with the flaws, and just like their quirks. But I won't even really want to say flaws, right? We all kind of have our personalities. We're all our own individuals. But just being able to do that and adapt with that, and you're doing such an amazing job with that, is just like incredible to see.
Thank you.
And we're not talking about adoption either. Fostering. This means that you are parenting alongside of biological parents. That it's co-parenting, and so you're dealing with the child's personality, the biological parent's personalities, and figuring out how to create this cohesion for the child, as there's back and forthness and all of that. And it takes a special kind of person to be able to manage all of that, not only in the scheduling of it all, but emotionally, the emotional impact it takes to just be able to like take a deep breath and take each day as it comes.
Definitely. Me and the bio mom are getting along now. Like I'm not saying that we never got along, but in the beginning it was a little bumpy. I was new to her. I'm very big on following the rules. I don't want to break any rules, for the safety of the child. You break a rule, the child gets moved. Even if they're that small, they know something's wrong. They know something's different, and that change affects them. So I make sure that I try to follow the rules. And bio mom and I are at a point right now where we can now co-parent a little better, because that's definitely what it is. That's a very good point. Like, we discuss certain things, like, okay, what would you like to do? When would you like to meet? His birthday's coming up soon. Like, what do you want to do? Technically, I don't have to do that. I don't have to let her know what I'm going to do for his birthday. She has a day with him. I have a day with him. But I know that at the moment, I think she would appreciate being present at his birthday party. So that's all between like me and her, not me and her and the agency. So the longer we stay co-parenting, the better our communication has been. And I'm hoping that it stays like that, because anything can change and go the wrong way. And I hate to say that that's something that I'm always waiting for. I'm just like, is it gonna happen? Like, okay, we're so good. Okay, great. Let's keep on going. I'm always open to communicate. I'm always open to listening and growing from a situation. If she can give me any insight on helping her kid, I'll be more than happy to take that information. And I would hope that she would do the same.
Has there been a connection between being a foster parent and the cake? Like, you said you create those amazing moments with your nephews, and how important that meant to you. Have you been able to create those same moments with your your little munchkin?
Oh yeah, he wants me to bake a pie every day. He wants you know, I'll do like little miniature like whipped cream pies for him because he'll eat everything. I don't know if you've ever heard this saying. It's like Mikey eats everything. It's an old like commercial. So
Been called
he's it.
Mikey.
I believe it. I believe it. So he does like he's like, well, can you make me cookies or can I have cake? It's like, you know, we can't make something every single day, but he'll want to make I try to do like roll out cookies for him or like I did the pumpkin pie where he can do cutouts of the crust and things like that. So he enjoys it and I like to have that memory with him. As long as I have him, I would like to continue doing that with him.
So is pie his favorite thing to make, or is he? That's the main.
Anything that he can use a rolling pin for, anything that he can roll out and cut, he's good with, and he can taste. He wants to taste the batter for everything. Anything that doesn't have raw egg, I'll let him have. I'm like, okay, you can try this, or before I put the egg in, here you go. It's fun. I like something that I remember my mom used to do when I was younger. She would always give me the whisk to like lick. So I was like, here you go. Like you can have it. Just you can't have the rest. I like that. That's a memory for me, and I would hope that it would eventually be a memory for him, like a good memory.
So for anyone who is like kind of like plays around with baking and is thinking about going into it as a business, what advice would you give?
Do research. Definitely do research. Find out what depending on what state you are, what state you're in, if you need a license, you know, cleanliness. Make sure you ask people if they have allergies because you can get into some serious trouble if you make something that someone's allergic to. Ask a lot of questions and don't be afraid to ask. That's what I've learned so far, and I think that's probably what I go by now. Like I make sure I ask a lot of questions. I see if I'm able to sell here, if I need a license here, and things like that.
So what is your range for like all the items that you make? So for those that are watching, and you know if they want to place an order, is there anything that you don't do? You do like you know what's your range? What is it that you?
What's your menu?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's crazy because a few years ago I would have been like, I only make cookies and regular cakes, and now I do like what I do now with, you know, the Game of Thrones cake or the Pokemon ball cake. If you, I'm not gonna say here that I'm gonna say I have a range. I can't say that because someone can request something and I'm not sure if I can make it, but if I'm given the opportunity to try, I'll try it. And if I can succeed in it, then I'll continue making it.
Awesome.
Nice.
Has there anything that you've done where you've kind of gotten to that point where you're like, oh, I really can't do this. Like that's just not possible for me to do.
So yes, there was a particular cake pop order from you guys, and I could not get this cake pop. It was like little airplanes, and I made like 100 cake pops, and they did not come out. I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna steer away from cake pop, like to make them into certain shapes or something. I was like, it's just not. I'm broke. I was broken that day. I was broken.
That's good though. That what's crazy is that they were cake pops for Oliver's birthday, but also for Jason's gender reveal.
Yes. It's like little helicopters, and I think I might have texted you like 2 in the morning. I'm like, listen, they didn't come out. They look weird.
Because they were good. They were nice.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so you're an artist. At the end of the day, you're an artist, but not even just.
Yes.
But it's like you draw. You're an artist, and I feel like the reason why people fall in love with you and your cake is that you take such a pride in what it
Yeah.
is that you do, and like it's not even like you're making it for the person. It's almost like you're making it for yourself. So therefore, when those little imperfections happen, you come down on yourself, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because you could just be like, I don't care, whatever, take it or leave it, you know? And that's never been your attitude. That's never been the way you
Mm-mm.
treat yourself. And
Hmm.
it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a true honor.
Thank you,
Like
thank you.
we come to you all day, every day, you know? Sometimes we feel bad.
I love it. I appreciate it.
We don't want to keep bothering her. I feel like we
No,
have
no, I enjoy it.
to.
No, I definitely do. I feel like when I make my cakes, they're me. That's me. And if it doesn't come out right, then that's me not coming out right. That's not like, yes, if they're good, great. I'm glad that they taste good, but I want them to look good too. And especially if you're also a customer who's paying me, you're paying me for a look. And if I'm not giving that to you, then I'm just not like, no, it has to be a certain way. I have to make sure and I have to keep trying and trying until I get it. But those cake pops defeated me. And yeah, I will eventually get back to that. Maybe it wasn't my time to learn it yet, but I'll eventually get back to that. But my cakes have been doing much, much better.
That unicorn cake. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was interesting to make too. I didn't think I could do that. I must have watched like I'm self-taught. Everything that I've done, I've either read from a book or YouTube. YouTube has been a godsend. And I must have watched 100 unicorn videos before I can even do that one. But it was fun. I enjoyed making that one. You asked me about one of my favorite cakes was were there's a cake that I did. It was like Indian style, very Hindi with elephants on. It was like red and gold with
Oh yeah.
elephants on top. That's actually my absolute favorite cake. It's my most favorite cake.
It was so pretty. What were they
I'm
like?
lying. There's a lot more, but that was the one that sticks out the most because I love the Hindi style. The Hindi cake? It was one of my friend's birthday. She asked me to make a cake that was she loves like Bollywood films. I love Bollywood films. So when she told me it, I was like, yes, I'm doing it. And that's what came out.
That's awesome.
What were the elephants made out of?
Gold.
So
They were not edible. Yeah, they weren't edible.
like little statues.
Yeah, they were little statues.
It blended so well.
Yeah, I'm glad it did. I had bought the elephants for her as a gift, and then I incorporated it into the cake.
That was perfect.
So it was fun to make. I really enjoyed that one.
I'm sorry. There's like a delay, so I feel like I'm talking over you.
It's okay.
For anyone who's considering or thinking about fostering, what are some tips and suggestions and advice that you would give those?
If someone is considering to foster, definitely, like I said earlier, make sure one, do research, make sure that this is exactly what you want to do. Don't put yourself in a situation where you cannot take in a child, whether it's a little child or an older child, because you accepting them and then deciding that you can't do it is heavy. It's heavy on them. Like it impacts you, but it will impact them even more. So be prepared for that. Make sure, like I said, document everything. If you do choose to go that route, make sure you document everything. Keep up to date with what you're allowed and not allowed to do. Um, and they, in at least my foster care, I'm sorry, agency, they offer a lot of information. So you're kept up to date with everything. So make sure that you're up to date with your classes. Like they give you parenting classes. They show you how you should speak to your child, disciplining. If you have a mixed family, so if you have a child from another race, how you should make sure that you incorporate their nationality into your everyday life so that they don't feel left out and that you learn about them. Um, And so far, that's what I got so far.
Mm-hmm.
So you had mentioned the agency that you're with. So, and within your area, are there multiple agencies? And if so, what is your recommendation? Like, how should somebody that's deciding to go into this, what steps should they take in deciding where they need to go in order to start this process?
Um, I actually, a friend of mine was the one that told me about the agency I'm in. My agency is called Turning Points for Children. They're officially known, from what I've been told, they're the best agency. They're very, very strict. The first things you have to do is you have to get your clearances. You have to make sure that you get a background check, which they will pay for. What I recommend, because you get 3 months to get your house ready, I would recommend you start doing that before start filling out the application, because things happen and sometimes you don't meet the deadline. So, in my case, I had to make sure that I have fire extinguishers on every floor, a smoke detector, CO detector. You have to have a car for my particular agency. Not every agency is the same. The reason why you have to have a car is because you have to be able to take the child to and from the agency when they have to meet their parent. Make sure that you get, plug covers. Make sure that your health is up to, is in good standing. I'm trying to remember what else I did. And they give you classes. Like I said, they give you like parenting classes, CPR classes. And I can't think of the third one, but I know they do something else as well.
That's awesome. So definitely for those that are watching or that will watch this later on, if for any reason you're thinking about being a foster superhero as well, definitely the heavy recommendation is starting to get yourself in line even before you start that application process. Because it seems like you said, you have those 3 months, but if you don't have those things lined up, like those 3 months can go really, really quick. Because not everything happens right overnight. So definitely start getting everything taken care of in advance, and then start going through that process.
So not only are you a cake boss and a superhero foster mom, you're also working full time, and you're going to school to be a sign language interpreter.
Yeah, that's amazing. So talk about that a little bit. Let's touch on that.
That it's been great. I am tired, but I can work through it even when I'm tired. That's something that I've wanted to do since I was maybe 4 years old, 5 years old. And I remember this only because it was on Sesame Street and Linda was signing the alphabet. And I was like, I want to learn that. And it's been a very long road to get to be able to take this class and start taking the program. Like I said, I had to work very young. I had, school was kind of on the back burner for a little bit. But I've always been in love with the language. I've always been in love with that. Like, it's rude to stare at people, but anytime I would see someone like using sign language, I'll just gawk. And you're not supposed to. Heads up, don't do that. They think it's rude. Don't do it. I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like I love the language. It's not English. It's something that it's completely different. It's an entity of its own.
Yeah, I was
I love it.
Article recently where they were talking about even in the movie and like in Hollywood, venturing out and making sure that they include it, because you don't see that often, right? But they actually hired somebody who was deaf and did sign language for The Mandalorian, which is a huge show right now on Disney Plus with the Star Wars universe, as one of the what do they call them again? The Tusken Raiders people, but they have their own sign language, and he created for the show, and they talk it,
awesome.
And it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, Hollywood does not the deaf community and Hollywood don't mesh. You will see a hearing person act as a deaf person, but they won't hire deaf people. It's very rare, and it's because a lot of people think that deaf people are disabled, like they can't do anything, when that's not the case. They're very smart people. They, nothing's wrong with them. They just can't hear. So, they will get excuses like, well, you won't, they could get hurt on set because they can't hear, the action coming, or they won't know when the line is, or it's a lot of excuses, but they're trying to break into the Hollywood industry, but it's rough.
I didn't know that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually just read it earlier. Because we were watching the episode yesterday, and I saw them doing it, and it was really cool.
So he created the sign language using is not regular. It's like a different.
Yeah, it's not regular. Like, it's not sign language. They created a sign language for the actors on the show, and that's how they communicate.
That's crazy. That's pretty dope.
It's a. Excuse me, guys, 1 second. Christian? Yes, it's sleepy time. Sorry. But
you didn't know. Oh. That's Jace. Okay. Totally unaware that it was.
He's upset because he's like, "Is the TV off?" I'm like, "Yes, it's sleepy time." It's like, oh
man. So, what is your once you've done your classes with sign, the next adventure for Maria?
I hope and pray to become an interpreter. It's something that I've always wanted to do, and I put off for way too long. So I cannot let this fall through. Like that's my next step. I have to be an interpreter. I would like to eventually learn other languages, but right now that's my main goal. Is to become ASL English interpreter. I just want to be that. For right now, and it's not even for now. Like, I don't even care what the pay is. It's something that I've always loved, and the community itself, like the deaf community, is such an amazing community. They're all about unity, communication, even like love. Like it's like the way you guys are. You know how you adopt people, like you're into your own family. That's how they are. Like, they are just so tight knit. Like, they communicate with one another way better than the way we communicate with one another. Like, we're all like, oh, that's not nice, that's not, that's kind of rude, when they're just upfront and truthful, and I think that's so freeing that I want to just immerse myself in that. So that's one of the main reasons why I want to be an interpreter. Like, I want to be a part of that world so that I can apply it to everyday life.
Okay.
So, being an entrepreneur, having your own baking business, being a foster mom, working full time, going to school to be an interpreter, for anybody else that is trying to pursue their goals, pursue their dreams in the midst of all the crazy.
I'm sorry. Yes. I promise once I'm done, I'll be right up. That's correct. Yes, sweetie. I promise, but you have to stop crying. Okay? Okay, let's be a big boy. Okay.
Last question.
So, with all of that, what is your suggestion? What are some words of advice that you have for those that are, that may feel kind of down and out, because throughout this process, it hasn't been a cakewalk for you, like it hasn't been
No
so
pun
easy.
intended.
Right? I didn't even think. It's a neat facet, right? You had your ups and downs with the cakes and the baking, you ups and downs being a foster parent, ups and downs full time, like all of these things have had their own ups and downs, and even some overlapping at the same time. And you're still here, you're still with your smile, you're still killing the day every day, like so. For those that might be a little down and out, and they feel like maybe they're doing too much, and for them to just keep pushing forward.
You've come this far. You've been kicked down before, you've been broken before perhaps, but you've made it this far. Don't let whatever is in your way right now stop you. You have to keep pushing forward. You have to, for yourself. You made it this far, you're going to continue to make it. Even if it hurts sometimes, you're gonna make it. You just have to keep on fighting, because everyone has the ability to fight. You're a fighter. Continue fighting. Don't let whatever's in your way stop you and push you down and take away what you've already come so far to do. Like, don't let this stop you now. You're almost there. Keep going. Don't look at how far you got. Just look at right now and go and push on to the next thing.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh. That was so beautiful. All right. That was like such a beautiful way to end it.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm speechless.
Thank you so much for lending your time and sharing your journey and your story and all of your words of wisdom. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
So much laughs.
Yeah, so we have so much love and respect for you. It's amazing. Just keep doing the amazing things that you're doing. Don't, like you said, take your own words. Just don't stop. Just keep don't stop. Because I know we talk. I know, right? So keep pushing.
I've cried many a times. I've cried, and it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry, but just don't give up. Yes. Yeah. It's okay to cry, Eric. It is.
Okay.
Mr. Mom, sorry.
But then thank you. For those watching, how can they reach out to you, follow you, put in order?
Oh yeah, you can definitely DM me. I believe my phone number is up there. If it's not up there, then I'll definitely update it. And feel free to contact me, whether it is to bake, whether it is to talk about foster, or just say hello, or some positive energy, because I'm always happy to give that. So I send people lots of hugs and lots of positive vibes. That's it.
So what's the IG account again?
It's ma.zing_treats.
So that's where you can get her at. I mean, you'll be able to see it when this is all done. We'll tag you to it and everything. But if you guys are on now and you guys want to make sure you go over there, jump over there, and hit that follow button, yes, and keep an eye on Miss Maria and her amazing. Just go.
Thank you.
Go follow her.
And we'll be back next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday we have our part 2 with Cass and Dries in regards to, we're back on the topic of preemies, with Kenny and his micro preemie journey. Mm-hmm. So last we left off, they were just coming home from the hospital, and we're going to talk more about his journey and development. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune into that. And Maria, it has been much love.
I love you guys.
Thank you so
much. You guys
have
a good night.
Always remember to kill the day.
Every day.
Every day, yes. Bye.